Hello everybody, sitting right next to me are Mary Jean and Chris, the first time in Medjugorje for the Youth Festival. Mary Jean, what first drew you or motivated you to make the pilgrimage to Medjugorje?
Well, it was an invitation, and some 30 years back I had heard about Medjugorje. Our parish priest would post the messages from Our Lady, and a number of my acquaintances and friends that were visiting and quite moved by the experience. And I thought, oh, well, that's very nice. They're very simple messages. Many of them sound similar in what they're saying. But I wasn't personally drawn strongly. But as time went by, we heard more, and then this invitation came at a time when it just seemed to fit into our life. And I thought, gee, someone as important as our Blessed Mother, I should really take this opportunity to get the first-hand experience of the apparition site in Medjugorje.
And how about you, Chris?
Yeah, basically the same. It was a very good time for us to go, an important time in our lives to come here. We'd heard about it for years and years, and wanted to also accompany this particular group.
Very good, very well. What were your very first thoughts or feelings when you arrived in the village?
Well, my first impressions actually started at the airport. And it began with our tour guide, Deanna. She was standing there waiting to welcome us, and she just had such a warm glow about her. Then she gave a short testimony introducing herself, and I got the sense there's so much care and detail in how she was trying to accommodate us. And then I remember her words saying, I think this is the place I am supposed to be. And there's something in that just felt very authentic. As the pilgrimage continued, her personal connections with the apparitions, those involved, the visionaries, the community, the history community, in small and bigger ways, really did speak loudly to me.
How about you, Chris?
Yes, I believe when we arrived in this town, it kind of fulfilled my expectations. It's a beautiful small village that seems both humble and also a feeling here of sacredness. And and then the next day too, looking through the town as we went to Mass, I was impressed by the city. I felt I was on a pilgrimage, not a vacation to Disney World. And it seemed to be an authentic place where Mary would appear.
So how did you feel while climbing the rocky path of Apparition Hill and the mountain?
Okay, so from a physical perspective, it is a difficult climb, and not as much as the one we did the next day, but it was difficult. It's a challenge. It's very rugged. There's rocks, sharp rocks. If you take your time and are careful, and there's always people around to assist. There were a lot of people going up with us, other groups of pilgrims from many different places in the world by the voices we heard, languages that were being spoken. So that was very reassuring that we're part of a very large community. And getting to the top of the hill, once we were there, again, taken by the amount of prayer, the amount of devotion that was being offered up by all the people who had made it to that place.
How about you, Mary Jane?
Yeah, definitely. I was quite taken by how many people were going to do the same thing, all ages, various abilities, and how much grace there seemed to be, and prayer, and devotion, and love. Some people going barefoot up on these rocks that Chris described, and yet everyone made it and came back, and that really touched me. And then going on the cross hill, the Stations of the Cross again, they touched me, they spoke. I could see things so much better with more simplicity from the eyes of our Blessed Mother, and how we are to carry our crosses. And so it also, both times gave the sense of what it must have been like in reality for these children to be running up and making this visit.
Absolutely.
Did you experience any specific moments of peace, clarity, or emotional healing that these people have so far, Mary Jane?
Yes, particularly right from the beginning Mass, speaking, and often, usually through the priests in particular. All of the other things help to nourish that and to guide us. But particularly in reconciliation, the setting of all of these priests and all of these people receiving and reconciliation, open air, in the cubicles, all lined up, and the direct messages of the Holy Spirit that I received. That to me was a small miracle, because there was also a priceless spiritual direction that I received. It had to be a grace, because these confessors were not our usual confessors, but they had the insight through the Holy Spirit, and that was very precious.
They're all very gentle.
Very helpful, yes.
Chris, anything to add on?
Yeah, I felt that a bit at the youth festival. I was really encouraged to see so many young people, again, from many different parts of the world, enthusiastic about Jesus, about Mary, and showing their enthusiasm, demonstrating it openly, proudly, that they had that devotion. That really was probably one of the most significant things I've seen in many years. And then right beside that, while that was going on, there were, as Mary Jean mentioned, there were many confessions taking place, different languages, throughout the entire youth festival. And one other aspect of the youth festival was that even though it was very, very loud in the sense of the music and very dramatic, it still brought a certain amount of peace. So,
Yes.
it seems like it wasn't the environment to do that, but it did achieve that for me.
Absolutely.
What was the most unexpected or surprising part of the entire pilgrimage for you so far, Mary Jean?
Oh, that's a tough question. But there is, I've heard it spoken about the unexplained peace. And as the week went on, this is real. And it's authentic, because I was receiving it myself. And I could see it among the people there, even after the youth festival, taking a walk downtown last night and seeing these people there in the courtyard, just so joyful, so peaceful, singing, and people often praying, and you could walk, and it was normal and natural to pray in the streets. And I think the simplicity of the community here, the sacrifices that, told by the historical facts that were shared by Deanna, just went on and on. It was fascinating. And her own charity spoke to the authentic zeal for carrying out the mission of Christ and giving priority to the wishes of our Blessed Mother. It was a simplicity that had quite a holiness to it. And I thought about how long these apparitions and how many have been occurring, and that always intrigued me. And I started to realize that this is providing time that's needed for many people to hear this, including ourselves now, some 30 years later. Our Lady has been so patient and caring and attentive.
Do you have anything to add on, Chris?
Yeah, one thing, and I agree with everything that Mary Jean said, but one additional thing is unexpected but very welcome, was the talk today that we received from Father and
Jason.
Yes, and it was an excellent summary and a presentation on the experience here, on what has happened here, the reality of it, the fact that this is a real thing that happened here, that has been largely recognized by the secular world, but fortunately it has been recognized by the Catholic world. And the more people who come here and experience this real event as it's happening, as it's unfolding before our eyes, and then we can all go out, all of us who come here and experience can go out and evangelize about this and tell the world, because the media is not telling it.
Well, thank you very much, Mary Jean and Chris, for coming from so far away and speaking to us today. This is only the day 7 of our 10 days pilgrimage, and I wish you both a joyful and spiritual, rewarded pilgrimage.
Thank you for
Thank you
your
very much.